Hello, it's Tom again. Today's video is about self-reliance, and at the same time, as you develop the level of self-reliance you want to achieve, how to watch out for people trying to take advantage of or exploit your desire to achieve the self-reliance you want. And why, and this is important because if there's a market to be exploited, people will exploit it. And why do people focus on self reliance? It, well, frankly, it's because sometime at some point in your past, usually, bad things happened to good people or to you, and you were unprepared to deal with it. You couldn't do anything to mitigate the damage. In short, even though we usually don't think of it this way, it it's basically it is trauma. And so when you have to deal with that, you now have permanently instilled in your thought process how to avoid that situation where you're helpless again, where bad things are happening to good people. It's a psychological drive. And yes, there are people who will exploit that, whether it's for financial reasons, or it could be to exert influence over people. Well, I guess those are the two primary reasons why people exploit it. So, just a thought on it, if you want to keep self defense items in your home, I'm all about that, as long as you make responsible choices and safe storage choices. Yeah, I'm all for it. If you want to keep an IFAC kit, yeah, do that, provided you take the time to do training courses and learn how to use them. I don't have an IFAC, I have a wound kit that's full of the stuff I was trained to use when I enlisted in 2000, mumble, mumble. Um, and because I'm in construction, people do get hurt, and I actually keep naloxone with my emergency stuff because, well, we've had 4 overdoses that I'm aware of over the course of the last 6 years, and among 1,600 people, 4 overdoses that are public knowledge is really, really bad. So yeah, I mean, hey, it's it's the things you do to make sure you're prepared for an emergency. But how do people start to exploit that drive to be that self-reliant and that prepared? Is, well, they can sell you things. Um, and just start with. So as a example, we can go with COVID because it's recent and everybody, whatever your understanding of COVID is, you understand that it happened and that it really changed social interactions and thought processes. So, kind of, if you recall in the beginning, we're not really sure what's going on. Things are kind of crazy. Certain areas are being quarantined, and National Guard was mobilized. I think in New Rochelle, and hospital ship. We deployed our hospital ships to ourselves. That's really unusual, and people are like, hey, there's a way to take advantage of this, and so it's like you need to be prepared. The government's going to declare martial law and they're going to try to take all of our guns away. So you need to make sure you're stocked up and you've got places to hide them and you've got all the bullets in the world and all of that. And there's that marketing push there. It's like, well, there's going to be money shortages and the banks are going to collapse. So you need precious metals. And okay. And for the record, I'm perfectly fine with stocking up on precious metals, long term investment over time. I'm a big fan of diversified investing. Um, not exactly an expert on financial matters, but it's generally considered good advice to have multiple uh, multiple investments for your future, whether it's pensions, IRAs, 401ks, physical metals, all, just if one fails, you have others that hopefully don't fail. Um, but now people are saying, well, you got to take all of your money out of the banks because the banks are going to fail, and there's a change shortage, and okay, now stores can't give you exact change, so they're saying, hey, we're credit only right now, and people are like, oh my god, they're trying to force us to go into a cashless society. And, okay, so as all of this compounds and they're telling you you need to buy bullets and you need to buy guns and you should get 80% lowers that you can hide from the government, and you should stack precious metals, and it's like, buy all of these things, consume. And then you get the politicians trying to take advantage of it. Because if they repeat that message to you, they enable you, and you then trust that politician. Here's the thing, you're on a psychological drive right now. It's not and it's an emotional response. It's not careful contemplation. They're taking advantage of you, and they're reinforcing the message repeatedly over time so that you never actually sat down to think about it in a state that wasn't agitated. And the mere discussion of it brings up anxiety, whether you realize it or not, it's there. And it's just important to understand that this is a very, very successful marketing strategy. I didn't really get into the social influence because there's a lot to go over, and we've already gone over a lot. But it's important to take the time to slow down and process it piece by piece and remove the emotional drive from it. Because in the end, when it comes to self reliance, you need to make good decisions. And that does mean learning how to recognize the anxiety and recognize the emotional response, even if that emotion is, we'll say, tamped down or repressed a little bit. It's still there. And when you do that, you'll be better prepared when an actual emergency does happen. It's just something to think about. Have a good evening.